sure that we are on the same page. Okay.
We'll give you guys a couple moments to jump in here. It's a new Demetris and a Splash of Fanta on this Tuesday morning talking college basketball. If you got a question for us, jump on in, or a comment. We got a ton to get to here over the next 50 minutes or so, a full day on the field of 68. So jump on in, and we will start talking college basketball. If you got a question, just throw it into the comment section. We'll get rolling.
Sure.
Right. All right, everybody, as we get rolling here, it is a jam-packed Tuesday in college basketball. Welcome to Demetris and a Splash of Fanta. These are the types of days you just love on the college basketball calendar. It is Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. And we want to remind you here on the Field of 68, we got a lot of stuff coming at you. Download, subscribe. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere you can find your podcast. You can subscribe to the pod weekly and listen to it in audio form. But let's get to it. I'm John Fanta. He's Demetris Nichols. I'm coming to you from New Jersey. Demetris is in Syracuse.
Cuse, baby.
Where the Orange had a scare last week against Bryant. I watched that ball game. Whoa.
Everyone was scared, including me. I was there. I was in the dome when they were playing, and it was a tough situation. Kind of like what Boeheim was saying is these guys had to quarantine for 14 days straight. They practiced that Thursday and they played that Friday. So it's going to take some time for them to get in shape or get back in shape because they kind of took a step backwards. Now they have to take 2 steps forward to get on the right track. But a win's a win. You know, college basketball is college basketball. So I'm happy that Syracuse won.
This time of year, especially with the offseason it's been, we're seeing tons of different things happen in the sport. And that's exactly why I'm starting this podcast out with a big prediction. Before we get to some of the matchups that we saw yesterday,
Talk to me.
I'm telling you right now, Demetris, I have a feeling that today, I know that this may come as a surprise to some people, but what I saw last night from Ziaire Williams of Stanford, and what I saw from Daejon Davis, who's a senior guard, I see experience with Jared Haas's team. I see a team that can rebound the basketball really well, and I see a team that defends. Last night, they out-defended Alabama. I am high on the Stanford Cardinal. I thought they made a statement last night in the way they commanded Alabama. And now tonight against North Carolina, I think that everybody is thinking, well, North Carolina should get past Stanford and should move on to the Maui championship game. Not so fast, my friend. I like Stanford tonight. I like their seniors. I like the way they defend. I think that Stanford comes out and makes another statement in a bit of an upset, but it won't be an upset to me because I think the Cardinal are primed to be a top-tier Pac-12 team.
Well, you can like Stanford. I like Ziaire Williams. This kid, his jumper is smooth. What impressed me is that you see a lot of 5-star players coming to college and thinking they have to shoot 25 times and then they end up going 3 for 19. But he doesn't have to play that way. He takes what the defense gives him. He takes good shots, 1 dribble pull-ups, 2 dribble pull-ups. And once he hits past half court, you have to guard him because he will FaceTime you and shoot the ball right between your eyes. He's that deadly of a shooter. The only thing that I didn't see him do is create some contact and traffic, dunking in traffic, trying to find a way to get easy buckets. But Stanford, just like you said, Stanford is a great team. They're a great, smart team. They shot over 50% from the 2, over 52% from the 3-point line. They are efficient, they rebound, and they have solid vets. And that's what I think is going to help Ziaire on the next level because it makes the game easy for him because he doesn't have to take those tough shots. You know, all the pressure is not really on him because Stanford is already – they already have a foundation. So I think it's really going to help him in the future. But defensively, they lock down as a unit. They lock down guard players, and they make sure that they play as a team defensively, turning their defense into offense.
Yeah, they do a really good job of guarding the ball and off the ball, and I thought they did that last night. They outmanned Alabama, and they out-hustled Alabama. They did all the little things in that game, and it led to an absolute rout. By the way, Alabama overhyped, may be. But I like Stanford tonight over North Carolina. Do not get me wrong. The Tars are going to be fine. They're a good basketball team. You know, I'm high on Garrison Brooks. I think he's one of the best players in the country, All-American material. And R.J. Davis is the key to this game tonight. He's a different type of player. He is a special type of player. But I think that Stanford's defense, combined with the fact you brought up Ziaire Williams, if Ziaire Williams did not play for Stanford, if he played for a blue blood, I think we're talking more about Ziaire Williams nationally.
For sure. I mean, because he's on the West Coast. But kind of like what you said, I'm concerned about the Tar Heels. Last night, UNLV was up 13-0.
They were.
They didn't score for like the first 8 minutes of the game. I don't know if they have what it takes from the wing position to be successful or take that next leap. I don't think the kid Leaky Black or Donovan Johnson has what it takes from that three position to shoot wide open threes and really help guys like Garrison Brooks to be effective. Because once they shut down Garrison Brooks, now it's going to be difficult for them because where's your plan B and your plan C? You know what you're going to get out of Brooks. He's a double-double guy. He's great around the basket. He has great touch. He's a great rebounder. But North Carolina is young. And I want to see their 4 All-Americans step up a little bit. I do like R.J. Davis. I think he can lead the team in scoring behind or before Garrison Brooks. But everyone needs to step up on that team and really understand what is on their chest. They're playing for one of the number 1 teams in the country with basketball history, North Carolina. They have to play like a Tar Heel, and they're not playing the way they should. So that's why I think Stanford is going to beat them tonight, because Stanford has a little bit more foundation. They have vets. They know how to play.
That's different. Yeah, that's a big difference in this game.
Yeah.
Coming into tonight is the fact that Stanford has Daejon Davis as the guard, and we know what Williams can do. But what you're talking about is a veteran backcourt that Daejon Davis played 34 minutes last night for the Cardinal.
Yeah,
you know, was heavily used and is going to control the pace of the game. He controlled it last night against Alabama, against Javon Quinterly, who just was outmatched and out physical. So I really like the makeup of this Stanford team. Again, in college basketball, you know, over the weekend, people are shocked that Richmond beats Kentucky. But then you're not following, because Richmond has the experience. And that's a team that's carved out to beat a Kentucky who's young, who only returns 1 player, Keon Brooks. That's how this sport works. Stanford's got the experience factor, and when you combine that with a great freshman in Williams, setup's there.
Yeah, sure. And going back to Richmond, Chris Mooney and Richmond, they should have came into the season being a ranked team. They should have made the NCAA tournament last year. They have 10 underclassmen and 4 guys that are graduate students. So they're playing against – so Kentucky was playing against older, mature guys who already know the system, whether you're a transfer guy or whether you're a junior or a senior. And that's what we was talking about a couple of weeks ago, about how Kentucky, they're always going to have talent. They're always going to have potential. But do they have that experience? Every game that Kentucky plays, it's a learning experience. And it is a game for you to get better, to take a step. Whether you win or lose, Kentucky is going to continue to learn each and every game because they're so young.
All right, so that's game 2 of the 2 semifinals in the Maui. You've got Stanford taking on North Carolina. That's around 4 Eastern time, ESPN. 1:30 Eastern time, Texas will meet Indiana. High-level game. Not sure what to make of these teams because I think Davidson's pretty good, and Texas beat a good Davidson team. Providence is in a bad state right now. Providence is in a bad state and had just a tough game yesterday. And what Indiana did to Providence, I'll tell you what, that was an impressive performance. Let's talk a little bit about Texas and Indiana, what you like about these teams and what they did yesterday.
I like 3 things about Texas. I like Andrew Jones, I like Matt Coleman, and I like Courtney Ramsey. Those 3 guys, they're like the 3-headed monster. They play defense, they make plays for themselves and others, and they lock you. And they can get the ball into the paint and make plays. They had 6 guys in double figures versus Davidson. I don't know if Indiana is going to have what it takes to guard them in the front court because they have guys like Cunningham, Kai Jones, who are leapers. Kai Jones made 2 threes last night. I didn't even know he could shoot the ball. But those guys are athletic. They run in transition. That 3-headed monster is going to be really, really tough. We didn't even talk about the freshman for Texas, Greg Brown. It looks like he's still trying to get in the rhythm, trying to find his space. But Indiana is also good. They have guys like Trey Jackson Davis, Rafe Thompson had a great game the other night. Those 2 combos, Indiana, they're gonna pick and roll you to death. If they don't have it on the left-hand side, they're gonna swing it and do the same thing on the right-hand side. So Texas has to be ready to guard that pick and roll and being able to stop them.
Yeah, and Texas didn't defend well yesterday.
Yeah.
They had a lot of trouble defending Davidson. It was very surprising, actually, just how much trouble they had. I thought Texas had better one-on-one players in that win over Davidson. The same can't be said today. Now, I'm with you on Courtney Ramey. I thought he played a really good floor game yesterday. They have multiple guards because you pair that up with Matt Coleman. You think about Andrew Jones. The combinations there for Texas in their backcourt to say their backcourt could be argued as better than Indiana. But I'm going to tell you where Indiana's better in this game. Defensively, Indiana's better. I think Race Thompson, the performance he had yesterday, you know how it is.
Career high. He had a career high.
When you're playing in one of these MTEs, it just carries over momentum-wise. You want to keep playing. You want to get back out there. He's going to want to get right back out there for Indiana the way that he's feeling himself. You combine that with Jackson Davis, the fact that they have a senior point guard now, Durham. I don't think enough people are talking about Indiana. The fact that they're unranked, they returned 7 of their 9 top scorers. Returned 7 of their top 9 scorers from a team last year. We know what that equals in college basketball. That equals winning. This is a crucial year for Archie Miller and Shaka Smart. This is a pivotal game early on in their season. But I think that the Hoosiers, the way they defended yesterday against Providence, combined with the fact that I don't trust Texas defensively, I thought they really struggled against Davidson. That's why I like Indiana today.
Everyone thought, including me, thought that Providence was going to give Indiana trouble. We thought that Providence was going to bully them because that's what they do. They get up in your face and play defense. But Indiana did the total opposite. They actually bullied Providence. They out-rebounded PC by 10. They had 16 assists. They wanted it more from the gate. And you can tell, like it seemed like the only person who was in shape and who wanted to play was Ed Cooley. Because Providence, they didn't do anything. The kid, David Duke, he has to play better. This is his time. He's a junior. You have to show the world what you can do. And he didn't really play up to his potential. So, I mean, I think this is going to be the game of maybe one of the games of the day is Texas versus Indiana because you have 2 good teams that do 2 different things, but it's going to be a chess match because who can stop who the most, who can get consistent stops, who can make wide open shots. And both teams have proven this yesterday that they can have they have an option A, option B, and option C. So I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think either team is going to blow each other out. I think it's going to be tight.
Well, I think there's two things I point to with Texas. They won yesterday. They went 8 for 28 from three. That's a heavy reliance on the three-point shot. Mm-hmm. And you combine that with the fact that I just thought Davidson, the way they ran their stuff, they were shooting the ball around 50% for a good portion of that ball game. Really, you could argue that the Wildcats had a case to win that game. I mean, they had a good look. It didn't work out. They had a couple good looks down the stretch. I just was very uncertain with the way that Texas defended at times yesterday. Again, Texas won this game yesterday against Davidson with one-on-one players who could beat Davidson's defense and get by them, penetrate, make things happen. Indiana's going to guard a whole lot better. Indiana, David Duke had an off day. He was 3 for 12 yesterday, but you have got credit. Watching that game, Indiana gave Providence no room for easy. Indiana, I'm high on after watching what they did yesterday. Texas could easily win this game. Indiana, I like in this game. This season, we're still trying to learn about some of these teams. I'm expecting a really, really good matchup between the Hoosiers and the Longhorns. Winner of that one, we'll see the winner of North Carolina and Stanford tomorrow. I mean, any way you slice it, it's going to be a lot of fun in the Maui Invitational.
I'm taking – so out of Texas and Indiana, I'm taking Texas. I'm taking Texas. I think they're going to adjust. They're going to do the same thing that they did against Richmond. They're not going to help as much on the bigs, and they're going to force you to play one-on-one basketball. So it's going to come down to, can Indiana's guards play one-on-one and get to the basket and make a play? So I have Texas because I think, Davidson is not that bad. So I think Texas had a problem with them because Davidson can play 5 in, 5 out basketball, and sometimes they can throw it inside to Luka Brondokovic and make a play that way. So Davidson does a really, really good job of making you think. It's either I'm going to kill you down low or I'm going to kill you with wide open threes. And that's what Texas did. They forced Davidson to play one-on-one, and that's what I think they're going to have Indiana do. Play one-on-one basketball. Can you stop me, or can you go by me and make a play? Because if you do go by me, I have guys that can block shots. So we'll see what happens.
So we're differing here. You like Texas.
I like Texas.
Indiana. I think it's going to be a toss-up type game, but I like the way Indiana guards. And I got to tell you, these are two coaches that are both in a pivotal year in their respective tenures. For Archie Miller and Indiana, they were on their way to the NCAA tournament last year. Obviously, nobody ended up going to the NCAA tournament. And for Texas, Shaka Smart has been relatively underwhelming. So his seat is warm by nature. And at a program that expects to win nonetheless. This is a very big moment. Very big moment. I know it's so early, but you remember the Maui, right? What do I remember about last year? I remember when Obi Toppin faced him.
Yes. Coming out year. That was his coming out year. I mean, obviously a good freshman year, a good sophomore year, but that was his coming out year. That gives guys like Obi Thompson and other guys who are playing in this tournament now confidence. And you don't know what's going to happen after this confidence. I mean, after this tournament is over, what teams are going to gain confidence and what teams are going to lose confidence. But even though I'm going for Texas, I do like Indiana. I love Race Thompson and Trey Jackson-Davis. Those two guys combined 37 points together. And if they could do that for the rest of the year, I see this team being ranked in the Big Ten. They are going to upset a lot of teams in the Big Ten this year, the way they playing those two guys.
All right, let's turn to tonight. Champions Classic, ESPN. I mean, the matchups throughout the next couple nights are just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. When you consider what we've got going on tonight, you got Duke and Michigan State from Cameron Indoor, and then over in Indianapolis, you get Kansas and Kentucky. Tomorrow, you get such a good slate between Baylor and Illinois and Gonzaga, West Virginia. It's going to be just flat out awesome. Cannot wait for what we've got going on here. But tonight, okay, Duke and Michigan State. Now, first and foremost, I thought this was fascinating. In the Champions Classic, it's the 10th year of this Champions Classic. Duke is 6-3 in the event. Kentucky's 5-4 in the event. Kansas is 4-5. Michigan State's 3-6. Michigan State's 0-3 against Duke in this event.
Really?
But, yes, really.
That's a great stat. That is a great stat right there. Go ahead.
But in this year of 2020, if there were a year, I think, for Michigan State to get off that Duke Champions Classic schneid, Sparty has – this is the year we're going to do it. I know games at Cameron Indoor, but no fans. And I liked what I saw from Spartans last
year. They look good. They one thing about the Spartans is they're going to come in shape and they're going to play defense. Michigan State has two solid guards, Mark Watt and Foster Loyer. They can get you a bucket and they play defense. They also have Joe Hauser, transfer from Marquette. He played well a couple of days ago. This is Michigan State's third game. I think this is Duke's second game. So I think Michigan has a little bit more rhythm. They have a little bit more experience. Duke is young. Duke is another team that I'm still curious about. They lost 45 points last year. Who's gonna make up for those 45 points? I want to see Jeremy Roach handle. So I want to see guys like Jeremy Roach and DJ Stewart see how they handle the Michigan State's backcourt, because Michigan State know that they're young and they're going to force Duke to turn them, try to make it difficult for them to get into their sets. So Michigan State, I think they have the edge tonight because of their experience, and they could be in a little bit more rhythm than Duke is.
Well, not only does Michigan State have the experience, they've got depth. You've got 4 players averaging at least 10 points per game. You brought it up with Joey Hauser, the way that he stretches the floor. I just see an older team, and I think that this stat says it too. The Spartans have 4 players who started at least 16 games last year. When you combine that with adding Joey Hauser, the pieces are in place for Michigan State in this game on this stage in November, December 1st now, to go out there and win this game over Duke. Now, on the Duke side of things, they still have a lot of things coming together. What they can have happen tonight is they had 22 turnovers against Coppin State in their season opener. That cannot happen again.
And they scored 71 points on Duke. That definitely can't happen again. 22 turnovers, and then that goes back to what I was saying. Michigan State, they're going to force those guys to dribble the ball and handle the ball. Guys like Jalen Johnson and Wendell Moore, can they be consistent enough to be those scorers that Dukes need? They combined 32 and 24 rebounds against Coppin State. They're going to have that. They need to have that same performance tonight if they're going to be successful, because the guards are going to make it tough for Duke's guards to get the ball over half court.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson has impressed and did impress in their opener win, and DJ Stewart comes off the bench and ends up scoring 24 points on 10 of 18 shooting. So for Johnson and Stewart, they're going to have to lead the way. I thought that Joey Baker struggled, and so I would expect that Duke makes a change in their starting lineup here tonight. I think they're going to need to if they're going to win this game. But I think between some of the sloppiness, you know, what you need tonight is you need Jeremy Roach, Jordan Goldwire, Stewart to control the tempo of the game, to keep Michigan State from runouts, to keep Michigan State from getting into that defensive mojo that Tom Izzo coach teams get into. But I think there's more of an unknown with Duke. There really is more of an unknown with Duke heading into tonight. There's less of an unknown with Michigan State.
Yeah, and a Michigan State jumped from 25 to 8 because people know how good they could be. And Duke, like you said, we're still curious about where they are potential-wise. Do they have what it takes? But tonight I think it's going to be a great test for them to see where they are. But you never know what Mike Krzyzewski has up his sleeve. He's always going to have a team that's going to compete, and they're going to learn from their mistakes. They learn as they play. So I expect them to be challenged, but Michigan State, I think they just defensively, they're too tough defensively for Duke to really take advantage of them offensively.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in this game because Michigan State is an underdog.
Really? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I mean, like I said, I don't think Duke – I think Duke is rated too high. And I think today we're going to see why. I think they went off potential, but they're still learning. They're kind of like a Kentucky where they have great talent. They have great pieces, kind of like North Carolina also. They have great pieces. They have great young pieces, but that experience factor right now in today's basketball with all this stuff going on in COVID, the teams that are successful are the teams who have experience, who have juniors and seniors, guys who have been through the storm, and guys who know what it's like to compete at a high level.
All right, the nightcap.
Nightcap.
Kansas and Kentucky. Now, how does Kentucky respond from a clunker against Richmond? 0 for 13 from beyond the arc. They really, really struggled. On the flip side, Kansas plays Gonzaga last week. I actually took away good things from Kansas in a losing effort. I thought they fought hard. I thought Ochai Agbaji was outstanding in that game. He really played at a high level. Agbaji is a player who's taken that leap.
No, I think he is too.
Yeah, attacked the rim, made things happen for them offensively. We knew that Marcus Garrett was going to be their star, but Agbaji's the player that, in my mind, gives Kansas a different edge and did last week in the Fort Myers Tip-Off Classic. So, what say you here about Kansas and Kentucky? Which direction do you move in?
I think this is going to be another great test for Kentucky after losing. You have to learn from your mistakes. So this game is going to be a test. Are you able to forget about last game and push forward? Are you able to get better? Kansas is still one of the best teams in the country, even though they lost to Gonzaga. Gonzaga just showed us all how good they really are. Kansas is led by a great defensive player in Marcus Garrett. I think Christian Burns is going to take that leap. He had 30 points the other night. David McCormick, he needs to play better. He needs to protect the rim a little bit better. And whoever is watching these teams play, you're watching two Hall of Fame coaches going at it. So they're going to compete at a high level. But Kansas, they're just more experienced. And this is a team that could have won a national championship last year. And they still have guys that came back. So, I see Kansas having the edge over Kentucky. I do think Kentucky still has time to grow. Guys like Boston Jr. is going to do well. Clark is going to do well. But they're learning as they grow. This is baby steps. These guys were in high school a couple of months ago, and now they're on the biggest stage playing a team that is experienced, that knows how to play, that has played in the NCAA tournament. So I expect them to learn from this and, just continue to grow and get better.
Yeah, I think that when you think about the youth of Kentucky, it really served over the weekend against Richmond on Sunday. Jay Boston, Devin Askew, Terrence Clark, all that youth, it seemed like it was too much for Kentucky against a Richmond team that had a lot of experience. And what I point to with Kansas is the battle-tested nature of going out to Fort Myers. They go 1-1. But I like the way that they're going in the now, more so than I do Kentucky. I think Kentucky, long-term, they're going to figure things out.
Agreed.
But they're just defensively, when you're that young, you're still learning. And the inability to hit perimeter shots, that makes it a real challenge. It really does.
But if you think about their point guard, who's their point guard? Mintz, Askew, they were 0 for 11. They had 2 assists between the two last game. Those guys have to definitely not good enough. I feel like Terrence Clark can bring the ball and run the offense because these two guys haven't figured it out yet. Mintz and Askew, those guys have to play better. You know what you're going to get out of BJ Boston. I think he's one and done. But the point guard position for Kentucky concerns me. They have to play better. You need somebody to run a team. It got so bad for Kentucky. I was watching the game, and Coach Cal had to tell his team at the free throw line to huddle up because they just don't know.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a learning curve, and that's why Coach Cal had that press interview about, look, take the pressure off the kids. This is on me. It's up to the coaches to teach these kids every single day. Every single day is an opportunity for them to watch film, to go over stuff, and try to get better because they have a lot of catching up to do because they're playing in the SEC, and they're going to have a great non-conference schedule going forward.
You know, for Kansas, we didn't even bring up Christian Braun, who's their leading scorer. Yugao Chayabaji.
He had 30 the other day. He had 30.
Oh, fantastic. Braun is that guy. And clearly the scoring knack for Kansas, which we thought could be a question for them to have to answer, Braun's answered that question. He's answered it in resounding fashion thus far. Man. Bill Self just understands as well as anybody what it takes to reload. But he does it with the mix. It's not like it's this influx of freshmen who are going to come in and do it the Kentucky style. Kansas does it their way. It's a combination of getting great recruits, but also of developing players, and that's what we're seeing here. I mean, that's what I see with this Jayhawks team. And actually, I've been more impressed than I thought I would be from them thus far, and that's a credit to Braun. It's a credit to Agbaji, who's everywhere. I thought Bill Raftery said it best last week when they were down in Fort Myers. He goes, this kid is everywhere. He's right.
And that's the beauty of having veterans, sophomores, juniors, seniors, guys that stay 3-2 years. So now you can mature, you can grow physically, mentally, psychologically. And this is why Kansas is successful every single year. Going back to what you said about their recruiting, they continue to recruit high-level players, guys who are kind of on that edge. They could be one and done, but they're not good enough yet. So now they stay that extra year, that extra 2 years. Now they grow, they blossom. And this is why this Kansas team has won 25 games in the past 8 years. They've been one of the top 5 teams in the country for the past 8 years because of that philosophy and because of their foundation that they have. They have a great system there.
So who do you got?
I got Kansas for sure.
Yeah, we both are riding with Kansas.
Kansas might beat them by a lot. I mean, because of just the experience factor. It goes back to experience and college basketball has a lot of great talent, but not a lot of experience. And that's why the Big Ten is doing so well, because they have experience. They have guys who stay 3 years. And I'm a firm believer of stay in school, get your education, grow, mature. So now you're ready to play at a high level in the next level. And then it makes NBA basketball look even better because guys are ready to produce as soon as they step on the court. But when guys leave early, it messes up everything. It messes up college basketball and it messes up the NBA. So it's my job to protect it.
It's your job to protect it. We always ask if you have any questions. We actually got a question on Twitter from Patrick, and I will hit on this one since I watched a good portion of this game last night. Ziaire was playing Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky's on the Ohio Valley Conference. The Ohio Valley Conference better be on notice. I thought Eastern Kentucky played a great game. They forced Ziaire into 25 turnovers. Ziaire wins 99-96, and Patrick asked, what's the cause of the turnovers? Is it short rest? Ziaire playing their 4th game in a matter of 6 days? Or was it the fact that Xavier's got some offensive issues? Here's the thing, Patrick, to your question. Xavier's got a freshman named Juwan Odom who has looked pretty good. Last night he got exposed a little bit. A freshman's going to get exposed. I thought last night he did. And Ziaire is a team right now that's still trying to find themselves in their backcourt. Between Odom, Kiki Tandy has had good moments, but also moments where even Travis Steele has said, I've questioned a little bit of which Tandy there is. He needs to see that sophomore and Kiki Tandy be a consistent factor for the Musketeers. Paul Scruggs last night held to 9 points. This was a great game plan by Eastern Kentucky. You have to give them credit. They pressured. Ziaire was overwhelmed by it. I think it was a combination of, yes, it's their 4th game in 6 days after not playing for 8 months, but also that the backcourt questions that we had for this team actually reared their ugly head in this game, and Ziaire was lucky to win. Eastern Kentucky, that's my mid-major of the day, Demetris, because I thought they played a really sound game. They forced Ziaire into those 25 turnovers, and had it not been for a combined, 44 points between Jason Carter and Zach Fremantle, I'm not sure if Xavier's coming out on top in that game. Musketeers are one of the more curious teams in the country because they are so used in NCAA tournament squad, but right now they still have more questions than they have answers. I don't know how much I trust them. And right now, trust is something that's a bit of an issue, especially in this sport. You don't know exactly who you can rely on and who you can't. Like another game today that's on my mind, Louisville and Western Kentucky. Sam Williamson's status is a little bit up in the air. He got banged up on Friday against Seton Hall in what was a great game. We talked about that game, and then it really was a great basketball game. Our guy Charles Bassey in Western Kentucky going to Louisville. You know, you're trying to develop who do you trust, who don't you trust. We trust Richmond. We don't trust Kentucky right now. We trust Stanford. But Providence, all of a sudden, we have no trust for. What's that?
Do we trust Louisville? Because Louisville, it seems like they're still trying to find their identity. You know, they don't.
I agree with you.
You know, like who's their leader? Who's their leader? And maybe Charles Bassey in Western Kentucky is going to take notice of that and expose that weakness, because no one is stopping Charles Bassey. He every night he has potential to get a triple-double and blocks. You know, that's how dominant he is. He's a force down low. Can they stop him and make an effort and try to turn that philosophy, try to figure out what's their foundation? Is it on offense? Is it on defense? How are you going to energize yourself to go on consistent runs? So there's a lot of question marks in this year's college basketball so far. But that's the beauty of basketball, because as much as we talk, guys still have to put the ball in the baskets. The guys still have to produce. So, you know, we'll see.
All right, another interesting game tonight. Marquee freshmen square off when Cade Cunningham of Oklahoma State meets Dawson Garcia of Marquette. I'm really excited to see what happens in this matchup. You know, Oklahoma State, obviously, with that postseason ban, it stinks. Marquette, liked after Marcus Howard, but Garcia looked the part. He looked the part of a highly touted freshman. So you get Marquette and Oklahoma State tonight, and I'm fascinated to see what these two prospects do. I'm also fascinated to see the tempo of this game. Steve Wojciechowski's team, they're trying to take that next step and show we can defend. You know, at Marquette, we're going to win a game defensively. Oklahoma State, they're going to want to get it up and down.
Right. And can Marquette defend, but can Marquette protect the ball? Because they had issues with that last year. Can Oklahoma turn the ball over? Can Oklahoma State turn that ball over for them? And Cade Cummingham, who is going to stop him? He's a young freshman, probably the best freshman in the class. I don't know, because Isaiah kind of has that question now, but Cunningham is really, really good. He kind of reminds me of a Sean Livingston type of frame, where he could do a little bit of everything. Post over smaller guys, shoot over them. He can pass over smaller defenders. So it's going to be an interesting game, because both of these teams are basically rebuilding. Both of these teams are trying to find what their identity is. And this game for both of these teams can show that.
Yeah, and, you know, you were talking about Cunningham. This is an Oklahoma State team. Look, they're going to rely on their youth. Rondell Walker was very good in their win over Texas Southern, their second game of the season. Walker had 19 points. He went 3 of 7 from 3. And then you got a great name, Farron Flavors Jr., who had 3 threes as well. I think that this is huge in this game. Can Oklahoma State find that perimeter rhythm in this game? Because the way that Marquette is constructed, this is a different Golden Eagles team. Garcia is kind of a unicorn of sorts. I have been super impressed. I mean, there were times on Friday night. I watched their game against Eastern Illinois. He fits the NBA mold. A 6'11" guy who can hit the three.
He does.
I'm just thinking of Jokic as he's got the ball, knocking down shots. He's obviously got to continue to girth up, but this is a freshman who's got a ton of versatility to his game. The key for Marquette is, can DJ Carton and Kobe McEwen show that they've got a little bit more experience than some of what Oklahoma State has on the other side, between Rondell Walker, between Cade Cunningham. And then what does Marquette do defensively against Cunningham, since he's been fantastic through 2 games? He had 20 points, 7 of 12 from the field, and at 6'8", it creates a unique assignment for the Golden Eagles here tonight.
I think you shut down everybody else for Oklahoma State, and you let Cunningham try to get 20 attempts like he did last game. Let him beat you. Well, let him try to beat you by himself. I think you shut down all the other guys, and Marquette has a lot of great options on offense. They have the pick and pop option. They can get to the middle and create for 3-point shots, and they can get into a horn set and try to find ways to score there. But I'm going with Marquette for this game. I think they upset Oklahoma State, and they force.
It won't be an upset if they win.
It won't be? Okay.
It will not be an upset. The game's at Marquette.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's no fans, though, so it's kind of like a neutral site.
Look, Oklahoma State still has to get on a plane and go up to Milwaukee.
That's true.
And Oklahoma State's young.
They're very young. And like I said, I think if they had the same – if Oklahoma State had the same philosophy as Stanford, where everybody is relying on everyone, not just one person. Even though you're the best player, you're one of the best persons in the world, that doesn't mean that you take tough shots. If you play the right way, it's better for your team overall. So I think Marquette forces Cunningham to take tough shots, and they lock down everybody else.
I got to say, this should be a really interesting game. I think that Marquette can come out on top in this one. But I will tell you, Oklahoma State, their ability, again, to knock down perimeter shots, because McEwen Carton, I expect that Oklahoma State finds a better answer than some of the smaller schools Marquette has met through the first 2 games, a better answer to guard Dawson Garcia. But Marquette's got a nice versatility to them this year. And as much as Marcus Howard was fantastic, and he's an all-time great, and I'd take him on my team over not having him on my team, sometimes by having different players, when you retool as a program, like teams knew the last couple of years with Marcus Howard on Marquette how they should approach defending Marquette.
Yes.
But now this year, I think there's just a different flavor to the Golden Eagles, and teams are trying to find exactly what they're going to do when they face Marquette, because no longer is it the Howard show.
The best offense that Marquette has is unity, playing together, not playing one-on-one basketball like they did last year. Obviously, they had one of the best players in the country to do that, but playing as a unit, playing together, making the right play, protecting the ball, those are things that Marquette needs to focus on. And I think Oklahoma State, they're going to have to – I think the first couple of minutes, they're going to go with their first option, and if that doesn't work, they're going to try plan B and try to figure out ways that they can make it easy for them on the offensive end as it's clock and the time goes by.
I'll tell you what else. Isaac Likel against Theo John inside. Likel for Oklahoma State averaging nearly 10 and 9 per game. Theo John looks good. He dropped a lot of weight in the offseason. He's running the floor better. Interesting matchup at the 5. You get Cunningham at 6'8". You get Garcia at 6'11". 2 really fascinating freshmen in various ways. And then you get Theo John going up against Likel. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the front court in this matchup. And like we said, Oklahoma State is averaging nearly 9 threes per game. Marquette can certainly dial it up. It could end up being a very close game as well, just with the state of these two programs. And we'll see. But one thing that I take away from Oklahoma State is 27 turnovers through 2 games. They've got to clean that up on the road tonight if they're going to pull out a win in Milwaukee. We'll see what happens. Cunningham versus Garcia here tonight, and that's like the 5th or 6th best matchup of the day. What does that tell you about today's schedule?
That tells you that college basketball is back. The talent, the potential, the expectations, the skill level that is exposed these past couple of weeks is amazing. I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Grateful to watch basketball every single day. And really just love the game, enjoy the game, and learn, man. I'm excited for these young athletes to, continue to get better and watch guys get better. We talked about the kid from Indiana, Thompson. He didn't even play last year. He had a career night the other night. Just watching guys like him and these young freshmen just blossom is just amazing, and it's great to be a part of.
Well, grab your popcorn because tonight's going to be fun. You get Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky in the afternoon starting at 1:30. You got Indiana, Texas. We told you that we expect that to be a really, really tight game, and that's followed by Stanford, North Carolina. And we've got Stanford as our sleeper of the day. Watch out for Ziaire Williams. You got to see this kid play. He is a marvel to watch, folks. And on the other side, R.J. Davis is different for North Carolina. Should be another good one. There's going to be several good matchups today. This should be a lot of fun. I predicted that we'll see a buzzer beater, if not a couple. Let's buckle up here. And we got you covered here at the Field of 68 Media Network. You've seen Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster on almost every day, giving you picks, predictions, what they're seeing in college basketball. We are with you every week, typically on Thursdays. Today we went a little earlier in the week with it being a jam-packed day. Goodman and Hummel, that's going on. And we've got a ton of stuff. Christy Winter-Scott with a brand new women's basketball podcast at the end of every week. It's the Field of 68 Media Network. Tons of team podcasts. I know there's one for your Syracuse Orange family.
Yes, Eric Devendorf. Yes, it's called the Scorers Table, and he's doing a great job interviewing Hall of Famers, great SU players, and just giving the fans something to do. So shout out to Eric Devendorf, but shout out to Field of 68. Like you said, our team is amazing. We're everywhere. We have great information. We have great knowledge of the game. So we just thankful and grateful for all the support, for all the love from everybody that's given us. Make sure that you subscribe, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, just continue to show us love.
Yeah, subscribe, download, guys. Tons of podcasts in and around 20-25 different pods right now across the Field of 68 Media Network. And follow us on Twitter at the Field of 68. You can follow me at John_Fanta. And let's get that Demetris Nichols Twitter account continuing to rise up. I'm buying stock in it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm buying stock in it. You can follow Demetris as well on Twitter. We've got a ton of stuff coming on.
Yep.
No, at Nichols Demetris.
At Nichols Demetris. Yes.
At Nichols Demetris is where you can follow.
Wait, hold on. We have a question. Do I wish Syracuse was back in the Big East? Of course I wish Syracuse was back in the Big East. If Syracuse was back in the Big East, we will be top 10. We would take all the East Coast recruits. We would do everything in our power to be one of the best teams in the country. Even though we're not ranked, I think that we still have some potential. We have great pieces. We almost lost the other night against Bryant. Bryant's a great team, but it's going to take time. Like I said, we have some great pieces. I think Buddy Boeheim has the potential to lead the ACC in scoring, kind of like what Elijah Hughes did. We have a lot of good pieces, but yes, I do wish Syracuse is back in the Big East, the old Big East at Madison Square Garden, smelling that popcorn and just, having fun. But I think one day Syracuse will go back to the Big East, hopefully sooner than later.
Well, that means they're going to move basketball ahead of football.
I mean, we should.
Interesting. I mean, look, that's what UConn just did. But again, football money in the ACC is different than football money in the American. I'm with you. Syracuse has not been the same in the ACC.
No, I mean,
the same vibe.
They've always been the 5th, 6th type of seed, but I think and I think in the Big East, it's a totally different monster. You look at the UConns and you look at the teams who are the Villanovas, the teams who are being successful in the Big East now. There's a reason for that. And I think Syracuse has something to do with that. So I wish Syracuse was back in the Big East. So we'll see.
Well, we got to go. We got a ton of stuff at the Field of 68 all day long. Tons of podcasts happening. Big day. Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, Indiana, Texas, North Carolina, Stanford. Download, subscribe our pod weekly. He's Demetris Nichols. I'm John Fanta. So long for Demetris and a splash of Fanta. And enjoy a big college basketball Tuesday.
All righty.